Right, I'm Tony DeFrank, and this is, I guess, the July 2021 edition of Covering Classic Cars. I'm here with Chris Ashton of Ruffian Cars, and you're going to see in our July catalog is the pretty impressive Ruffian Mustang. So thank you, Chris, for being part of the shoot today. And I guess enough of me blabbering. So let's talk about the Ruffian Mustang. So what was the inspiration behind the build, and then we'll show some pictures of our audience. But it's an impressive car.
Yeah, thanks. That was my favorite body style of Mustang ever, 6970 fastback. And in particular, I started going to racing events, and I just fell in love with the old muscle cars, the Trans Am series race cars, the old Camaros versus Corvettes versus Mustangs, that sort of thing. So, and those Mustangs there, they have big beefy slicks, and they have fender flares, and they're really aggressive. They have, front spoilers and aerodynamics and stuff. So I just fell in love with that, and I wanted to basically have one of those for the street, that I could drive to the grocery store and to Home Depot and stuff, which sounds absurd, but that's kind of...
Well, we've seen it on the road, and it's definitely aggressive, but it looks good, sounds good, so it's definitely a driver. So I guess your Ruffian builds, like what's that? Where's the name come from? Mm-hmm. What's the inspiration?
I built it inspired by race cars, and it's a Mustang. And I knew it was going to be unique, all the body work. It's all steel fender flares and vents, and I did all of that stuff, hand fabricated all that stuff myself. So it's a unique car, and I wanted a unique name for it. It's a Mustang, which is a horse, and it's built for racing. So I started looking at old race horses, back in the days. And found one that was named the Ruffian, and for some, just because of like how wild and crazy, and I kind of break the rules on the Mustang, that name really resonated with me, and so it's really from, pulled straight from the racehorse, and really has stuck with me through that car, and really was, the Ruffian was that Mustang, but now since then I've been working on other cars, and it's just kind of become almost like my brand, or a particular look of...
Yeah, well, I guess it is, because you're still, I think you pay respect to the past with everything you're doing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess you're not afraid to like kind of poke a little at the purist, and maybe upset them a little bit with what you're doing, but they got to respect the fabrication. And we're sitting here in Chris's shop, and I don't see there's not 5 or 10 other people like hidden behind us or anything. Like
right.
You're everything. You're the fab. You're I guess engine assembly. You do. I guess you wear all the hats at Ruffian Cars.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't do was I didn't do the paint. That was handled by South County Auto Body in Lake Forest. But the rest of the stuff, like I said, all the sheet metal work, the installation of everything, the roll cage. All of that stuff was, the part selection, the way the car looks, picking the paint colors, everything. So it's all me, and it's just, this is not what I do for a living. This is just me on the weekends and in the evenings. It's just what I love. If I could have had a different career, this would have been it. So it's fun to do it in my spare time.
Oh yeah, and I had no idea when we came down here. Chris has been a long-time customer, and we just kind of fell in love with what he was doing, and it kind of worked out that we could put together this photo shoot. But yeah, I just figured you're a car builder, but I didn't realize that this is just a night and weekend hobby for you. But you're a big time into the video game industry. Yeah.
So I've been working on video games for 25 years, somewhere around there, and own my own studio for the last 12 years. And so we're a small little independent studio named Turtle Rock Studios. We work out of Lake Forest, California. So that's what I do, 40 plus hours a week. And then building the car stuff, everything I do on the computer is virtual. Mm-hmm. You can't hold any of it. And also, it's a big, roughly 140 people. And so it's a big collaboration between you and your publishing partners, and there's just a lot of any decision. There's 100 people involved, and so for the car building stuff, it's just me, and there's a piece in that, and so yeah, coming out to it's not work for me. Coming out to the garage in the evenings, it's my way to get away from the norm and do something physical with my hands and and I don't know, it just feels good. It's pretty cathartic.
Yeah, there's something with the world being so digital, and look, we're recording this for our YouTube channel, and we're going to share photos on Instagram. But yeah, just getting away from being able to, and to find like a I don't know, like I would say, like analog or a tangible, like just separation from it. It's like I think there's appreciation for that. And I think that's why I think just automobiles resonate with young and old, is that there's something that, like, whether it goes back to your Hot Wheels days or your Ertl models, or something about figuring out how something goes together, or making your own, like you're doing, like making, you're fabricating art out of these vehicles. And I was just impressed, like, you have the Ruffian's a SEMA build in nights and weekends, and you said it was 3 years, I think you told me that it took.
Yeah, 3 years.
I think many customers that have custom car requests from big time shops would wish that their car would be done in 3 years. So I think that's a testament to your I guess your craftsmanship and your ability to fabricate.
I did nothing else. If there was Christmas vacation, I was in the garage. You know what I mean? Like I was just so passionate about it and so drawn to it that I just spent sort of every extra moment that I had working on it. So.
Well, it's a beautiful car, and I know we're sitting in your shop here, and I guess next to us is another SEMA project. Behind us are a couple other projects. I guess, what are you working on in 2021?
So working on a GT40 right now. It was a Superformance, so it's a replica, and Superformance builds them, sells them as a roller. So I bought it as a rolling car, just minus motor and transaxle. And of course, I decided to take it apart and do my own thing with it. And so I'm basically rebuilding it, changing a lot of stuff on the body, which, GT40s are some of the most beautiful cars ever made. And so there is definitely a risk, but like the Mustang, I want it to still be immediately recognizable as a GT40, but then, it'll look even more muscular and maybe a little bit more modern, modernizing the headlights and stuff like that. So, that's the big one for me for this year. Fingers crossed, I can get it done.
And that's so the hope is that if you had enough nights and weekends to get ready for SEMA in November is the target.
Yes. Yeah. We didn't go last. SEMA didn't happen last year, and it was good for me because we wanted to go last year, but it was just gonna. I don't necessarily build the cars for SEMA or for anybody else or for any specific deadlines. I'd like to go, and I was in a situation last year where I would have had to rush it and maybe make some decisions I didn't want to make, so I was actually relieved that we didn't go last year, so we should be ready this year. Yeah,
and I guess patience worked out, because I guess, everyone's talked about the COVID in 2020, but I think you've had a pretty interesting 2021. I guess if any of our customers follow Chris on Instagram, they've seen with the, I guess, we don't get, I guess, weather like the rest of the country, but you've seen like some of the aftermath of some of the fire season that we had, and you had quite a bit of damage to your home, and you had some mudslides that you had been battling, I guess, back in February and March, that were pretty costly and time consuming for you.
Yeah, it did. It definitely set us back. I didn't work on the car for at least 2 months. We had a big mudslide. The fires scorched the hill and killed the vegetation, then it rained hard, and it brought all the mud and rocks and stuff off. So I had boulders and trees in the garage. It broke through the garage door, and it swept away 3 cars that were outside and damaged the 2 that were in the garage and damaged the house. And so we're still dealing with that stuff. There's still mud on the GT40. Like I cleaned up a lot of it, but there's still mud underneath. I still got to get it on the lift. And
you'll probably be finding that until like you're rolling into SEMA, you'll be scrubbing something out probably.
Yeah,
but
every time you think you got it all, you find another pack of mud somewhere.
Yeah, so definitely the GT40 has just become, I guess, a definite escape this year from you, just to be just a change of scene. I guess beyond SEMA, are there any other big plans for projects or events for this year, or any?
Not too much. I try to go to Cars and Coffee and some events like that, but I a lot of times it's like it's Sunday, I could stay in the garage and work, or I could go drive around for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I tend to just work in the garage, but the GT40 I will hand it off pretty soon to the body guys. And then I have a shop that I'm working with that's going to help me out with some carbon fiber. So I'll hand that off soon, and I'm going to get started on a 64 Galaxy is the next one.
Okay, and that's another big project. So it's I guess if you follow Chris on Instagram or on your website, you will see like the build updates on that project as well, because that sounds like another
that's going to be probably
serious project.
the most extreme build that I've done so far. You know, it's an entirely new tube chassis, purpose built, like big track car. You know, the only thing Galaxy is going to be the body.
The body, and then
sitting on there. Yeah.
Well, good. I think everybody likes it. I think everyone appreciates, I guess I'd say maybe like a sleeper, but you know, from the outside it looks like a 60s era car, but then you look underneath, they're like, oh wow, here's 2021, and then it kind of so that's great. And I think that's what everyone really appreciates about just like either at SEMA or going to a Good Guys show or going to these Cars and Coffee meets, seeing what builders and car owners can just come up with and be like, oh wow, I didn't think you could do that with this car, and that's what you're demonstrating with the Ruffian build. So it's pretty cool.
Cool.
I think I'm out of questions, Chris. I think you did a great job. I really appreciate all your time today. Thanks for hanging out with Rick and his son Connor, and letting him take a lap in the car there. He really enjoyed the ride. So again, I'm Tony DeFrank with Covering Classic Cars. Again, so we'll see some more of the Ruffian Mustang on our catalog in July. So check it out in your mailbox or your inbox. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate it.